What do you think is the worst case you handled in your 2 decades experience in ministry?
The worst case as an exorcist?
Yes.
Okay. So let me first of all speak to what I think might be behind that question. So probably you were asking about the worst of the demonstrations of demonic power.
Yeah.
Of course, in an exorcism, you walk into a room, the devil will begin manifesting, and
Mm.
there might be supernatural signs that are exhibited, such as levitation on the part of the
Levitation.
victim. Yeah, so inanimate objects floating, sudden and dramatic
The
changes.
head is turning.
Well,
There's a,
so in the movie The Exorcist, the original movie The Exorcist,
yeah, I
that
watched it.
that head turning is the only thing that would be absolutely false, because the human head cannot turn 180 degrees, right? I mean, the neck would break, and the devil, the Lord does not give the authority to the demon to kill the victim, right? That's an authority the victim does. Every demonic manifestation is done with the authority of God. When the devil possesses, he does so because he has received authority from the Lord to possess.
Wow, it's like Job.
Like Job. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He has to come before the Lord and he has to make the request. Right? So the devil is on a leash. The devil is a very minor reality. He's a minor reality. But he is dangerous. And so when he acts, he's acting with the authority of God. He has to ask that permission. He has to receive that authority. And so in the room, when an exorcism is occurring, there might be different signs that you see. Like I said, inanimate objects moving, sudden fluctuations in temperature, bizarre bodily contortions on the part of the victim, and so forth. So, but something that you need to know, that your viewers need to know, that such things are only done to scare the exorcist and his team. So if I were to bring you into a room, I'm just talking as a thought experiment. If you were to be present at an exorcism, if I were to invite you to come along and be as an intercessor, you walk in the room and all of a sudden you see a chair starting to float in the air by its side, right? So that might raise your blood pressure up a little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay. It might make you a little bit apprehensive.
I might run.
You would run. Okay. So my immediate counsel to you, so how I would instruct you before even going into the room, is I would say never, ever, ever run, because the devil is a minor reality. And if the devil is more afraid of you as a baptized Christian, as a son of God the Father, than you are of him.
Amen.
And so if you run, then you've bought into the lie that he's trying to create, right? So now, let's say I brought you into the room, that chair floated, you made it through that experience. Let's say on another exorcism, I come in, I bring you in again, and you see a chair floating again. Would you be as scared as you would be the first time?
No.
No. What about the 22nd time you see a chair floating? Would you be as scared as the first time? No.
No.
Absolutely. You're right. And after time 122, you would be even less. In fact, you might, your cup of coffee, you might not even put down your cup of coffee. You would see the chair. In other words, that effect has lost its hold on you. It's lost its effect on you. And so that's where eventually an exorcist comes to. In other words, those signs no longer put fear in anyone in the room. And so the devil stops showing them. He doesn't waste his energy anymore. And in fact, he puts his energy into resisting the prayers and the commands of the exorcist. Right? So he performs those signs, those parlor tricks, I call them, in order to evoke fear. But if the fear is gone, then there's no point in him doing them. So he doesn't waste his energy. You see?
Wow.
You know, the devil is a minor reality. And the example that I like to give to people is this. In your kitchen, you know, so Adrian, in your kitchen at home, you have at least one knife that is sharp enough to cut you if you're not careful with it, right? Right.
Yes.
So when you use that knife or any knife that is sharp enough to cut you, you're careful with it because it can cut you. You don't handle it carelessly.
Yes.
Right? But when you go to bed at night, you don't spend your time worrying about that knife cutting you, do you?
Yes.
So,
correct.
And if you did, then you would agree something's wrong with your mental health, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's the same with the devil. The devil is a minor reality. God is the major reality. The devil is minor. He is dangerous. He has the sharpness of a knife, if you will. And so for that reason, I respect the devil. I do not fear the devil. I respect him. I respect him because he is dangerous. So I don't play with him. I don't interact with him in any way other than to remove his rights from the victim and then cast him out subsequently.
Wow. So it means, Father Carlos, that the devil will have power on us if he will give him the authority over you.
That's right. He needs to receive authority in order to torment. And that authority is most often received through sin, right? Through the committing of a mortal sin, a violation of one of the commandments, especially any violation of the first commandment. To you know, the first commandment is the Lord wants to be the God of our lives. He wants nothing else to be on equal level with him. Well, when we dabble in the occult, when we view a fortune teller, play with tarot cards, play with a Ouija board, when we cast curses on people, when we consult horoscopes, those kinds of things, when we're trying to control that which is uncontrollable, right? When we're trying to control the forces of nature in a way that is occultish, when we're trying to control the future, we are trying to be God. And so that is the main way that people get demonic spirits attached to them. The second way, which would be as deadly, it's not quite as common, but is as deadly, is through sexual sin. We're sexual beings. And the sexual appetite is a powerful appetite. In fact, we have no other appetite that's quite as powerful. Nature has equipped us to be sexual and to we reproduce the species through the sexual act. But that is also the most perverted appetite that we have, because we will desire things that we ought not to desire. We you know, that the propensity today for lust, as demonstrated through pornography, masturbation, through things all that is happening all over the Western world, homosexuality, and all the well, even divorce in some cases, and in sexual promiscuity, and the fact that so many people are entering into marriages today with the mindset that, well, if this just doesn't work out, we'll separate. You know, that's it. We'll go for round two. You know, we're going to try this.
Yes.
That's not God's plan for marriage. And if we're not on board with God's plan for something, then we don't possess the protection of God. If we're not walking with the Lord, we don't possess the protection of the Lord. And then that makes us subject and open to demonic attack.
Oh. So, what do you think, Father, is the reason why there are some demons so difficult to get rid of?
Yeah, I guess there's a two-part answer to that. Why are some demons difficult to get out of somebody? So the primary reason, the most common reason, is the fact that it depends on the rights that the person has surrendered to the demon. It depends on what's going on within the victim that enabled the devil to go in. And so we have to come to the bottom of that. And this is often a difficult situation because when a victim comes forward and seeks help, sometimes they're greatly ashamed for what they did, the sin that they did or sins were shameful. And so they don't want to give the details about them often. And unless I know those details, then I can only be of limited help to the victim. And so I have to convince people to trust me and to give me those details. Now, I say this to you and to most people who are alive in their faith. You would say, well, of course, you mean tell the priest everything, and you submit it to the church, and that way he can help you. But that's you, that's me, and that's anyone with a robust faith. But most people that come forward in this ministry do not have a robust faith. Some of them have no faith at all. And so they're coming to me, they're coming to an exorcist because they've been guided to, it's been suggested to them because they're being afflicted and they've tried everything else. Some of them don't even believe in God. So I've got to win them over. And I will always pray for everybody who comes to me, but I will tell them, unless you trust me with the circumstances of your situation and your life, I'm only going to be able to give you limited help. Right? You have to empower me with the authority to help you. And if you don't do that, I cannot help you. And I'll tell you this, my experience is 60% of the people, 6 out of 10 people who come looking for an exorcism do not actually want to be liberated from the devil. Either because they're not willing to be honest about what they've done to bring the devil in their life, or they just like the gift the demon has given them too much. So there's always an offer. There's always a gift that's given. And that gift might be really appealing, and they might have built a life around that gift. I'm thinking of an example of there was a young man who came to me looking for an exorcism. He had an uncanny ability, and I've encountered this type of demon several times, where he could just approach a female and she was virtually powerless against his sexual advances. So this could be a young lady who has been perfectly chaste her whole life, serves at her church, has never had any transgressions in the area of sexuality, encounters this individual and feels all but helpless at getting undressed and having a sexual encounter with him.
Wow.
So there are certain demons that are so powerful that they are operative in this manner. A different individual that had that same demon, I encountered him when I was residing in Mexico for a period of my life about 10 years ago. All he had to do was walk into a bar and just look at a woman, and she would begin undressing. I mean, this was an objective fact. This was something that a friend of mine went along with him and witnessed it firsthand. So these were random bars in the city of Guadalajara, which is an enormous city with millions upon millions of people. And they would just pick a random bar, and this example, this phenomena would occur every time. So there has to be a repudiation of this demon. But in both of these individuals, in both of these men, and it's not just men that get this demon, it's also women. But in these two circumstances, these two examples that I've just mentioned, neither one of them was willing to give up the sex. So they knew that they had a demon. They knew the demon was afflicting them. The one in Mexico was terrified because he had a wife and a family, and so he was terrified at losing his wife and family. His wife didn't know that he was having at least 3 different sexual partners every single night. His wife,
wow.
and he was afraid that she would come to find that out. And yet, when I offered him the ministry of exorcism, he refused it. He says, "Father, I know this is what I need. I'm just not ready to give this up yet." So you see what I mean by the devil puts you in need of him. He makes you in need of him. He is occupying a wound. And it's just like an addict will find it difficult to give up the source of his addiction when he's seeking treatment. The person who is possessed will find it difficult to give up what the devil has implanted in them, even if it's not a gift. Like in this case, it was through sexuality, it was through fornication that was his need was in that. Sometimes the need is in the hopelessness. So the devil has made a person hopeless. I'm too horrible a person. I have too many dark sins in my life. I've hurt too many people. Maybe I've murdered people. Or maybe I've committed violent acts against people, and the devil is threatening to expose me publicly, and I'm going to wind up in prison if that's found out. So that's what I mean by the devil implants something in you. It might be a gift, or it might be a wound of this sort, but the victim has to come to a place of courage and say, no, I'm not going to cooperate with the devil. I'm not going to receive what he says. I'm going to put my faith in God. I'm going to approach the church, and I'm going to be willing to surrender this and fight against it and enable the church, empower the church to fight on my behalf. If we have that, Adrian, now we have the basis we need for an exorcism.
Do you believe in the 3 days of darkness? I always heard this, that it was prophesied by Padre Pio and Sister Faustina. I heard it was part of the message.
Para magkaroon ka ng access sa content na ito, be part of my Patreon group at i-click mo lang ang gold membership. Ma-access mo na ang buong video talk na ito. Alam mo ba na pag ikaw ay naging part ng aking Patreon group ay matutulungan mo ko makapag-produce pa ng mga high quality content na katulad ng pinapanood mo ngayon, at sobrang makakatulong ito sa ating online evangelization dito sa ministry na ginagawa natin para mas ma-empower nyo kung makapag-produce ng mas marami pang content na alam ko na makakatulong sa inyong pananampalatayang Katoliko. Thank you and God bless. So that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope na na-bless at na-inspire ka dito sa aking vlog. Make sure na i-like mo at mag-comment ka sa baba ng video na to at mag-subscribe ka sa aking YouTube channel para lagi kang updated sa mga bagong vlog na gagawin ko. At huwag mo din kakalimutan na i-like ang aking page. So this been Adrian Milag, encouraging you to live your life to the fullest. God bless you more abundantly.